A possible feud, connections to big names like Snoop Dogg, and now one man who claims he's been wrongfully convicted. It's all part of a criminal case that just took a turn.
Only the 8 News Now investigators have been following the battle brewing in court. Vanessa Murphy has been speaking with the man at the center of it all.
Denise and Brian, rapper Mac Minister insists he's an innocent man. He's been telling me this during phone calls from prison, and he's alleging this in court. But prosecutors argue there are too many connections between Mac Minister and 3 people who wound up dead.
How did you develop Money Mike and get it? I mean, everybody talk Money Mike. How?
The first week that I got the script, there was a pimp guy that used to be a pimp, but he wasn't anymore. He was a rapper now, and his name was Mac Minister. And he had been a pimp and was getting to be a rapper. And I had never done a movie before. I was a stand-up, and I'm getting ready to do the movie. And so I was able to craft what a real pimp was like, what was too much. I didn't want to be stereotypical.
Right.
AHumbleSoul, we checking back in, man. Comedian Katt Williams, he went viral from his appearance on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast. You know, during that conversation, Katt reflected on his legendary role playing Money Mike in Friday After Next. And Shannon Sharp was pretty much asking him, like, how did he step outside of himself to become Money Mike and to play that role? And he revealed, you know, that he was inspired by a guy named Mac Minister. He said that him and Mac Minister were friends, and that Mac Minister was somebody who treated the pimp lifestyle as a business, and he used that as motivation and inspiration to play his role as Money Mike. You know, Mac Minister is somebody he's currently incarcerated, serving multiple life sentences for his alleged involvement in the murder of Kansas City rapper Fat Tone, as well as Tone's friend, a guy by the name of Cowboy. And they were reportedly killed in retaliation for the death of Mac Dre, a Bay Area rapper who was really successful on the independent side, you know, of the music game, and has become, you know, a legend since his passing, for sure. You know, Mac Minister, he came up in the Bay Area, San Francisco. He represents a neighborhood called Fillmore. You know, Mac Minister in particular, you know, he had ties to a lot of rappers. You know, he was making a way into the music game. You know, he appeared on E40's album. He appeared on albums with Snoop Dogg, Yugmouth. He talked on the Game's album, Too Short, you know, the list goes on. Mac Dre was somebody else, you know, who Mac Minister collaborated with. Mac Dre really got his start in the late 80s, but took off after he got out of the feds, you know, in the 90s, man. Really took his career to the next level on the independently, selling hundreds of thousands of copies, man. But you know, Mac Minister in particular, he's locked up right now. And allegedly it's because he and another guy want to get back for Dre's murder, man. You know, Mac Dre, he was killed in Kansas City, Missouri. Halloween weekend of 2004, he was there, you know, booked to do some shows. He did like an in-store meet and greet at this record store to connect with his fans and promote the show. According to reports, man, he ended up showing up to his show late, you know, after he was scheduled to perform. And he agreed to perform at a different show too, a VIP Halloween party or something like that. And it's reported that he didn't hold up to the agreement, he didn't perform. But there was some type of disagreement, man, with the promoter. You know, Dre still wanted his money, you know, for coming out there, his back end, although he had got the deposit. Nevertheless, man, things went left while Dre was out there. Dre was headed back to his hotel. He was being driven in his van. It's around 2:30 in the morning after Halloween. A car pulled up beside the van on the highway, rolled down the window and started letting off multiple shots, man. They also started ramming the van, you know, like running into the van and kind of run it off the road. But they let off shots from a assault rifle as well as a handgun, man. And you know, the van eventually swerved into oncoming traffic before it went off the road and, you know, and went into a ditch. And it said that when the van crashed, Mac Dre was thrown from the van, man. He was ejected from the van from the impact. When they found Mac Dre, he reportedly had been hit multiple times. He apparently died from a gunshot to the back of his neck. So this was November 1st, 2004, and that started a whole, divide between KC and the Bay. The rumor started to circulate after Dre's passing that Kansas City rapper Fat Tone allegedly had something to do with it. People were saying that him and Fat Tone had got into some type of disagreement at a club that weekend, and that may have led to, Dre's death. But Fat Tone, he put out an album called My Hood Betrayed Me, and it's a song on that album, it's called Y'all Can't Fuck With a G, where he talks about, people spreading rumors, about him allegedly killing Mac Dre, how he was disappointed, about that, and also let it be known that he was actually real cool with Mac Dre, that they were friends. Police actually questioned Fat Tone about his alleged involvement in Mac Dre's death. Fat Tone was able to provide an alibi. He was never charged. There was no evidence linking him to Mac Dre's death, but people still thought he had a hand in it, man. And around this time, Fat Tone, he has a music buzz of his own. He had collaborated with Mac Dre prior to this. It's footage of them on stage together. And at this time, Fat Tone, he has his own buzz going. He's releasing a lot of albums, and he's making money. He was a street guy out there in KC. He was linked to people like Sebo, Messy Marv, all of that. So, he had his Bay Area ties for sure. At some point in time, he started to develop a friendship with Mac Minister. According to different reports, Fat Tone and Mac Minister actually met in Las Vegas, like March of 2005, I believe, when he met up with Mac Minister, and they ended up hitting it off. Mac let him know that he had connections to different rappers, and Fat Tone, being an independent rapper trying to take his career to the next level, he saw the benefit in having somebody like Mac Minister as a friend, you feel me? So they reportedly even went to New York together, man, where he was able to introduce Fat Tone to somebody who was linked up with G-Unit, because Fat Tone, he's trying to take his career to the next level. He's trying to get a record deal.
Y'all gonna get money?
Yeah, getting hella money, man. Do a show, same old shit.
Talk about the lifestyle out here, man. Why you think the KC people fuck with the
What's up, Playboy?
Shit, man, it's our network, you know what I'm saying? Plus, there's a lot of paper.
I'll let you boys, man,
on
we
everything
get a
a nigga do, you know what I'm saying? The West Coast with the Midwest, you know what I'm saying? They don't get no better, no clear, you know what I'm talking about?
According to different reports, Fat Tone had decided to fly out to Las Vegas in May of 2005 to link up with Mac Minister. It's alleged that Mac Minister promised that he would be able to arrange a meeting with Snoop Dogg about a record deal, a possible record deal. Snoop Dogg was out in Las Vegas to perform. And, like I mentioned, Mac Minister had appeared on multiple Snoop Dogg albums. Snoop was one of the people he was cool with. Fat Tone and his friend Cowboy, they were out there together, staying at the MGM Grand. While he was out there, he linked up with Mac Minister. Hotel surveillance, footage from the MGM Grand show Fat Tone, Mac Minister, and Cowboy, shows them leaving a room and then walking to the parking garage shortly before midnight, on May 22nd of 2005. About 80 minutes later, Fat Tone and his homie Cowboy were killed. Before Fat Tone passed away, he had been at the casino playing craps, and he had won, a few $1,000s, according to his family.
Andre Dow, also known as Mac Minister, was an up-and-coming West Coast rapper in the early 2000s, but that came to a halt.
They gave me 4 lives without the possibility of parole.
Dow was convicted in 2008 for a double murder in Las Vegas in 2005. The victims, Kansas City rappers Anthony Watkins, known as Fat Tone, and Jermaine Atkins, known as Cowboy.
I don't know who killed Fat Tone.
How did they end up murdered in your girlfriend's car?
I don't have no answer for that.
In 2005, he invited Fat Tone to Las Vegas to meet Snoop Dogg. Dow is seen leaving a casino with Fat Tone and Cowboy. He claims they went their separate ways.
I don't know where they went, but he says he has some business to handle.
The bodies of Fat Tone and Cowboy found near a construction site. A car.
Around 2 a.m. on May 23rd of 2005, there was a security guard, man, patrolling this neighborhood in Las Vegas, or the outskirts of Las Vegas. The security guard noticed a 1992 blue Toyota Tercel parked with his lights on. When the security guard got over to the car, they noticed that Fat Tone was inside, shot multiple times. And his friend Cowboy was on the ground outside of the car, shot multiple times. Fat Tone, he was 24 at the time, and his friend Cowboy was 22. A person living in the area actually told police that they heard the shooting and saw a white Sunfire speeding off. They also mentioned that they had saw both cars, the blue Toyota Tercel as well as the white Pontiac Sunfire, parked at a house not too far from where they found Fat Tone and his homie Cowboy. Police got a search warrant, ended up going to the home where they found a picture of a guy by the name of Jason Mathis, aka Jace Corleone. He reportedly stayed at the house, man. They found a picture of him holding a AK-47, and Jace Corleone is a friend of Mac Minister. It said that they both stayed at that house together, and that the white Sunfire that was seen speeding away from the crime scene was Jason's girlfriend's car, who allegedly was a prostitute. Her name was Lee Larson, but that was supposed to be her white car that they saw. 2 days after Fat Tone and Cowboy were killed, they found the white Sunfire used in the shooting burnt up in Vallejo, California, which is hundreds of miles away from Las Vegas. Less than 2 months after Fat Tone and Cowboy were killed, the guy Jason, he was locked up after he got into a domestic assault situation with his baby mother in San Francisco. And after he was arrested, man, his BM allegedly started talking to the police. She let the police know that Jason had confessed to her that he had killed Fat Tone and Cowboy in retaliation for the murder of Mac Dre. So Jason allegedly told his BM, that he did that, and that he had burnt the car after it took place. Something that stood out to police is that she knew that the car was burned up because it hadn't been made public prior to that. Jason's baby mama, man, also told police that Mac Minister was with Jason when everything took place. Police started doing their research and gathering evidence, and Jason was locked up on a domestic violence charge, but they hadn't charged him with the murder of Fat Tone or Cowboy yet. So at this time, police started reaching out and trying to get with Mac Minister to question him about Fat Tone's murder. But he ended up going on a run, man. That run, it lasted around 10 months. Actually in July of 2005, Mac Minister, he was speeding in San Francisco, close to the Golden Gate Bridge. Police pulled him over, and when they were about to write him a citation, give him a citation, he sped off, ditched the car. When police found the car that Mac Minister was in, that he had abandoned, they found a documentary that he had put together, and they also found an article on Fat Tone's murder. Him and Jason, they ended up being indicted, man, eventually on 2 charges of murder and 2 charges of conspiracy to commit murder. Jason was already locked up, but Mac Minister was still on the run. They placed him on America's Most Wanted. And around this time, Jason's girlfriend Lee, the person who allegedly owned the white Sunfire, they ended up finding her dead. She got shot in the head, man. So after everything officially came out that they had been charged with Fat Tone's murder and Cowboy's murder, Jason's girlfriend ended up being killed, and they alleged that Mac Minister had something to do with that. It's also alleged that she knew about what they had did, so they took her out, according to reports. But they ended up putting Mac Minister on America's Most Wanted, and eventually he was arrested. He was hiding out in this apartment, in his hometown of San Francisco, when they got up with him, man, and charged him with Fat Tone and Cowboy's murders. In July of 2008, Mac Minister and Jason Mathis, they both were found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. Their trials lasted less than a week, from what I understand, before they both were convicted and sentenced to, multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. And since then, they both been fighting their cases, man. They both said that they were framed. that they didn't have any involvement with the murders of Fat Tone and his homeboy Cowboy. They both, did different interviews that are online, talking about how they've been framed and how they think that they're gonna come home, you know what I'm saying, someday.
Andre Dow isn't getting out of prison anytime soon. An attempt by the West Coast rapper known as Mac Minister to get his murder conviction tossed out failed. Clark County District Court Judge Michelle Levitt denied his request after hearing hours of testimony. Dow spoke with the 8 News Now investigators from prison several times in 2022. He also participated in podcasts, which Judge Levitt refers to in her order. Dow insisted witness Antoine Mouton lied. Judge Levitt writes, Dow posted Mouton's personal information and talked about how he testified against him on a podcast. 2 days later, Mouton filled out a document changing his story. The judge questions Mouton's motivation and credibility.
Someone here in Las Vegas helped you prepare this affidavit?
I really don't ask too many questions, man. I'll just, whatever it is, I need to get done. I'll get it done. I just got it done.
I decided to look into it.
Judge Levitt also calls out this former San Francisco prosecutor in her order. Lateef Gray says he started looking into the Nevada case after he heard Dow on a podcast. Do you believe he's 100% innocent?
I do. Based on this evidence, I do.
Gray claims he uncovered information which he believes prosecutors withheld. Judge Levitt calls some of his testimony here inaccurate and points out how he knew Dow since they grew up in the same neighborhood, something we previously asked Gray about.
It's irrelevant.
But yeah, that's what's going on with that, man. But R.I.P. to Fat Tone and Mac Dre. They both had their own followings, man. They both left an impact. One in Kansas City, one in the Bay Area. If you're messing with the video, man, make sure to hit the like button, drop a comment. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, man, hit the button. It's appreciated. It's greatly appreciated. Until next time, I'm gonna holler at y'all 100.